On today's episode of the Retirement Blueprint, we're going to talk about game shows. And Frank, everybody loves a good game show.
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah, whether it's the big wheel that you're spinning or you got to hit the buzzer just in time. We are going to kind of enjoy that element on today's show. Hopefully you've got the right answers when you're playing along with those games. What happens when people treat their retirement planning like a game,
right,
or like a game show? Spoiler alert, it's usually not always a win. And so what we're going to do on today's show is kind of tackle some of the risky moves that people make with their finances, just like it's a game of chance. We're going to talk about how we can solve some of those problems that get created when we look at it that way. So that's coming up on today's episode. Let's get to it. Welcome to the Time Blueprint with Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. Here we break down taxes, income, money, and estate planning, giving you the tools to make informed financial decisions and aim for better retirement outcomes. Your host is financial advisor Frank Oliver, the president and founder of Oliver Asset Management. He's the author of Your Time Is Now, sharing the essentials you need to know to craft a comprehensive and customized retirement plan. Dive in with us as we offer clear strategies and straightforward advice, all designed to empower you in your financial journey. Welcome to the Time Blueprint. Back for another episode of the Retirement Blueprint. Great to have you with us on today's podcast. Walter Storholt alongside Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. And Frank, as always, it's good to see you. How's life?
Life is great. It's busy. Yeah. Didn't get to go to Florida like you did, but yeah.
It was a fun little side trip.
Yeah. Working around the house. So now that the boat's off the water, we're redoing our deck out front, doing a patio. We have a retaining wall next to the barn that is sliding down. So we have somebody going over there putting in a retaining wall today.
That's a challenge.
Yeah. So got to watch the Tyson fight. That was a letdown.
Yes, it was.
But the Broncos did have a big win, so it was not all that bad of a weekend. So,
yeah, that's fantastic. As we record, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving. Got any big plans for Thanksgiving this year?
Not yet. Okay. My dad's in Texas, so he's out of state this year. So probably just a little family time with Brittany and myself, and
nice.
Maybe go to the neighbors.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Do you have any traditions that you typically try to get into, or something that
it's
you
all
cook this
turkey?
time of year?
No, it's all turkey. We're traditional turkey. All
nice.
the way.
No,
homemade stuffing. Yeah, cranberries.
Ooh, can't beat that.
Yeah, it's a good.
Does Brittany have a specialty, like something that she like nails every?
I do. I'm the cook.
You're the cook.
I do the cooking.
Yeah.
Okay. She just drinks wine.
So what's yours? The wine pouring.
The wine pouring. Yeah. No, I love homemade stuffing. For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we start and we take bread and we tear the bread up, just the cheapest white Wonder bread you can find.
Okay.
Let that dry off for 2 or 3 days. Then we actually use the juice from the turkey to make the homemade stuffing.
You're doing the real thing.
We're doing the real thing. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, happy early Thanksgiving to you.
Back at you.
We'll look forward to hearing about how your holidays are going next time around. Well, let's get into it. Gambling with your nest egg, lessons today on this episode from your favorite game shows. First of all, did you ever have a favorite game show?
I like The Price
is
Right.
Price is Right?
Yeah, I like The Price is Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm from the generation that whenever you were sick, you watched The Price is Right from home. Like that
Absolutely.
That was your experience as well. Okay, good. You looked forward to being sick.
It involved money, right? It involved money, right? Who would not like The Price is Right in my industry, right?
Right, exactly. And the showcase showdowns at the end.
Oh my gosh, it was cool. Yeah. Bob Barker.
Bob Barker was the best, and I guess
it's
Drew,
a good long
Drew Carey's still doing
Carey's
it now,
doing it,
maybe?
yeah, exactly.
So.
Looking good.
Yes. He dropped a lot of weight, like right around the time he started doing that show.
I think so, yeah, good for him.
Yeah, very cool. Well, and Bob just carried that series. So that'll actually be our first one on the list, is The Price is Right.
That sounds good.
In a world where stock trading, a lot of emphasis is placed on buying a stock when the price is right. Is it overvalued, or is it to be avoided, or is it undervalued and a great opportunity to buy right now? And if you're hearing those kinds of comments in the financial world, you can start to make some connections to how people play The Price is Right. Are we overvaluing, undervaluing? Are we kind of missing the forest through the trees there a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you get caught up in those comments, you really are talking to more of a stockbroker than an overall well-rounded financial professional. And there's nothing wrong with trying to look at the valuation of a stock price. But if you do that, I think most people would have missed out on Bitcoin and Tesla. Tesla's been, supposedly overvalued for a very, very long time. And Tesla continues to have these runs. So I think you just got to have that diversification in your portfolio. Don't be a stock picker. And just make sure that you watch the stocks, you watch the companies. But again, just add that diversification. Don't try to be a stock picker, and don't necessarily look at the valuation of every single company. Portfolio managers do a great job at that. They really do. JP Morgan, for example, a lot of the portfolio managers that we use, they will evaluate all of the pricing of those stocks, and they'll weight appropriately to make sure that you're not picking one stock that's overvalued and then that's overweighted in your portfolio.
It's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? Because you would think, as someone in the finance realm, value would be of high importance, and just being good stewards of money, we would want to be focused on value, but you can overdo it trying to get that price is right mentality of hitting it. It's like Goldilocks, just getting it just right. You're kind of missing it sometimes.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think looking at the valuation of stocks and companies is very important, but I don't think you want to get caught up at just looking at the valuation of one or two companies. You just need a well-rounded portfolio.
All right, so our next game show, Frank, is not one that I actually ever watched, but maybe saw some clips of it here and there, and I get the idea. This was the Jeff Foxworthy, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Jeff Foxworthy's great.
Is a great concept for a show. I was past my game show phase, I guess, at that point. But the idea here is that financial planning doesn't have to be that hard, right? I mean, should we kind of embrace that mentality that Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader should kind of also lead us into developing financial plans that somebody could understand?
There's always a fair level of complexity with financial plans, but I think the problem lays when you make the plan too complex for the client that you're explaining it to. Right?
Okay.
I mean, in all reality, if you build a plan, you use some good software. You help educate them on when they should elect Social Security, why they should work a little bit longer, why they should be contributing to the 401k and getting the match. Just looking at some basic elements there, that's a really good starting point. And then you can get it more complex over time once they start to feel comfortable and have a good level of understanding. But if the client is confused and they don't understand it, you've overbuilt it, you've overcomplicated it, and you're not doing a good job of explaining it to them. And that will create some fear in their minds, and that may cause them just to procrastinate and make some bad decisions.
So a good financial plan isn't necessarily simple, but it should be simply explained to clients. So they should be able to understand. So you might need to simplify the explanation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the nuts and bolts behind the plan lack sophistication.
It'd be like shopping for a computer. Do you really want to know how every solder joint on the chips are put in there? Exactly. Or do you just want to know how the computer is going to enhance your life?
Sure.
The simple keystrokes that's going to make your life much more efficient. And that's the way a financial plan should work for you as well, is the simple keystrokes that's going to make your financial plan more efficient and that you understand it. So you can come back to the advisor and come back to the table with some smart questions. And not just come in like the deer in the headlight look where you have no idea what to ask the advisor because you don't understand your own plan. So I think that you do need to start with someplace simple and then just slowly work into the complexities for the client. That way they can get a grasp around it as well.
That's actually a really good comparison because I'm thinking about computer shopping, and when you're trying to understand, okay, I've got RAM and memory, but also the size of the hard drive to be concerned with, and then there's processor speeds and graphics cards, and it's like, okay, is it just going to do what I needed to get done? And that's why
get overwhelming. They
don't say, what level of memory do you need in your laptop? They say, well, what kinds of tasks are you doing? And then they try to help push you in that right direction based on your habits.
Right. And that's exactly what they should do. And that's what we should be doing as professional advisors for our clients as well.
Yeah. So they're not coming in saying, I need a 62% risk balanced XYZ thing. They're saying, hey, here's what I'm comfortable with. Here's what we like to do on the weekends. Here's how much money we spend. And then they
want to know exactly how much risk are they taking on? Can they retire comfortably? Do they feel comfortable with their plan? Do they walk out of the office feeling nervous, or did you add a sense of comfort to them? And that's really where you should start.
All right. So if you are playing your financial, game show, if you will, like Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, that sounds like you're kind of actually on the right track. You're trying to understand your plan, and that is a good thing. All right, then we have Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? We had to throw that one in here as a comparison, right? Way too often it seems like people get too fixated on achieving that certain number, that net worth or account balance number, and many times it's exactly that, right? Like, I can retire comfortably when I hit $1 million, or like I'll know that I made it when I hit $1 million, or I think I'll be able to retire when I get to $1 million.
Right.
As nice as that would be to be that simple, it's not always the case, is it?
Yeah, that's a nice number to hit, and I know that everybody wants to be a millionaire.
Yeah,
and I think that is the number that people try to achieve for one reason or another. But you're right; it does come down to how big is my Social Security benefit? What do I spend? What are my monthly expenses? When am I going to retire? I mean, $1 million retiring at 40 is a lot different than $1 million retiring at 70.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
What are my expenses? I think I just mentioned that one, but a lot of people just do not really put together a thorough expense plan.
Right.
That is so critical. It really is, to know exactly how much you're spending every month. Dictates when you retire, how much is the $1 million really going to be worth to you?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's kind of a relative number. Fidelity did a study years and years ago that if you want your retirement to last, if you want $1 million to last, you need to adhere to the 4% withdrawal rate. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you think about the 4% withdrawal rate on $1 million, you're a 40,000-aire.
Yes.
Because that's about what you're going to produce out of that portfolio.
Right.
So
Does that sound realistic to you or not? It
you know
may
what,
to some, may not to others.
Well, I guess it depends if you want the $1 million to still be in your portfolio when you die, or if you want to enjoy it. Maybe some people are okay spending a little bit more of their portfolio, strategically pulling that down.
Yeah.
So $1 million has a nice ring to it. It's a nice number. But
does the million include the value of your home or not? And that makes a big difference. And
Absolutely.
all those kinds of things.
Right. I don't typically look at the value of your home. It's an asset, and I understand that, but you can't live off of it unless you want to take out a HECM loan or something like that on it, or if you downsize and take the equity out of it. But some people don't want to sell their house to free up that equity,
especially with our market right now just being kind of still a little hard to grasp, and not a lot of motivating factors for people to give up their current mortgages and all those
right
kinds of things.
Absolutely. Yeah, and real estate's staying on the market for quite a bit longer than it was a year ago or 2 years ago.
Not quite as hot.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
All right, let's get our last one. It is the Family Feud, and as fun of a show as that is, I don't know if we want to plan our retirement like a game of Family Feud, because when you don't have a well-conceived retirement and financial plan or estate plan, this is what you end up with. You get a Family Feud, right?
Yeah, I always tell my clients that, fences make good neighbors, and I think good estate planning makes good family members, So you don't want to go to probate. You do not want the families feuding over this. One of the key words that we say is beneficiaries. Make sure you have those designated beneficiaries. Make sure you have a good estate plan with everything laid out, or there could be a feud. There could be a family feud. And
it's like the simplest thing to take care of, but it has some of the biggest consequences negatively if you don't do it right.
Absolutely. And even if you have not got an estate plan built, honestly, if you have a simple estate and you have your designated beneficiaries listed out on your accounts, on your IRAs, transfer on death on your bank accounts, transfer on death on a designated beneficiary deed, that's a really good starting point, just to make sure that the majority of your larger assets are going to be transferred correctly, and that there's no families punching it out in the backyard there.
Yes, very much so. So, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? A little overdone on the focus of if you're turning your retirement into that game show. Are you smarter than a fifth grader has some wisdom to it? Don't turn into the Family Feud for sure. And hey, Price is Right. Good to focus on it, but don't get obsessed with it.
Absolutely.
Like a kid home sick from school, watching it religiously. If you've got any questions for Frank, you want to go through the financial planning process. We had some fun with it today, obviously talking about it from this game show perspective. But Frank, when someone comes in to meet with you, we're talking much more in the world of specifics. You're going, everybody that walks through the door is different. They go through a custom planning process with you.
100%.
Can you give us a peek behind the curtain what that custom process is going to look like?
Yeah, so we start off with, we call it the Retire Smart Form, and it's about 7 pages. And you go through, and we're going to learn everything about your assets, your bank accounts, your real estate. We're going to learn about your hobbies. So we want to know what kind of person you are as an individual. What do you enjoy outside of work? Family members, risk tolerance, likes and dislikes of the market, what your concerns are with taxes, long-term care, charitable gifting, market correction, long-term care, retiring too soon, running out of money. And once we have that level of understanding about you, then we'll take the hard data and we'll put it into our planning software. And then the planning software is going to start to produce some results. It's going to start to produce some data that we can review with the clients and say, okay, so from a starting point, this is where you're at and this is how your retirement's going to look. Now we can start to craft a financial plan and look at different investments and stocks and funds to put into place here to make all of that work for you.
Excellent. That's a little bit of a preview of what the planning process starts to look like. How do you begin? Well, the best place to start is by booking a 30-minute free consultation with Frank and the team. You can do that online or come into the office. But the way to book it, we've got a link in the description of today's show for you. So whether you're watching on YouTube, just look in that description for the link. Or if you're listening to the audio podcast, you can check it out in that show notes or description section on your favorite app. Or you might be listening on the website, and you'll see buttons for it as well. But But book a free 30-minute consultation with Frank and the team. You'll be able to start talking about some of these specifics that relate to your financial plan, talk about your future, and see if you're a good fit to work with one another. And again, no cost or obligation for this, right, Frank?
Absolutely not.
Okay, very
Love
good.
to meet you.
Check that out and get in touch with Frank today. There's also more contact information in the description of today's show if you want to ask a few questions ahead of time as well. You can call the phone number or reach out online as well. Frank, that'll wrap up today's game show element of the program. And
Thanks, Walter.
Appreciate that, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Right back here on the Time Blueprint. Advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Creative One Wealth, LLC, and Oliver Asset Management are unaffiliated entities. Licensed insurance professional. Respond and learn how financial products, including life insurance and annuities, can be used in various planning strategies for retirement. The information contained herein is based on our understanding of current tax law. The tax and legislative information may be subject to change and different interpretations. We recommend that you seek professional tax advice for applicability to your personal situation.